So today we're going to do the monthly update on the 90p Aquarium. This may or may not be the last video you guys see. Not that last video, but at least the last update you guys see. I'm not sure yet because the 88 contest obviously started this month and it goes all the way to the end of May. So you basically get 2 months to submit your tank in. And obviously this is the one that I'm submitting this year. So it's in the process of that. I would have loved to submit it, the first day it came on, but more than likely it's going to be another thing where I submit it probably um, in the last couple weeks or so. That's probably what I got planned on because I just did a big trim, which I'll show you guys all that here in a second, and so I can get some new growth going and get basically the final look all together before I take my final pictures, and I'll talk about all that. And that's mainly what this update will be about. It's basically the final things I'm going to be looking at and the final changes I'm going to be doing, because the 88 contest goes through April and then it goes through May 31st, so basically 2 months to submit your photos in. And so that's why I'm saying I don't know, because obviously this tank will be up for a little bit longer after the 88 contest, but then we're going to rescape it and tear it down. So I really don't know if I'm even going to update it afterwards. Obviously you guys will get an end video and like final videos on this tank and the final thoughts, but I think this might be the last official one. So yeah, I'll turn you guys around. We can talk about the changes and what we have planned. So as you can see, I trimmed a lot, so actually the tank is like really ugly right now. And but what I'm trying to do is I trimmed it really low so that the new stems can basically, because obviously the final look and the main look I was always going for this tank is basically to have the stems like just a little bit taller than this. Wrapped around, I never wanted it to be like super tall, so that's why I trimmed it back real far, so at least like it what the new growth and it can get a little bit red, and so we can have that just final bush going. Is it gonna look perfect? No. I mean, this tank honestly needs way more time than I should have had. Obviously we've had problems in the beginning of this tank that kind of postponed a lot of it, and a lot of stuff got messed up in the beginning, so this tank really should have looked way better by now, even because in June this tank will be a year old, so it should have definitely been in its prime. But it's what it is. I mean, this tank was never perfect anyways. I regret a lot of things on this tank. It still turned out sweet, and we definitely was a good little series, and it taught you guys a lot and taught a lot of people a lot. We did a lot of great videos on this tank, just equipment wise and everything else, and it learned a lot. But it learned a lot from me too, just a lot of things about scaping and all that because this was my first tank that really about this size, because obviously I was doing smaller rimless tanks before, and so a big size like this, now I know exactly what I need to do next time, and hopefully going forward it'll be pretty good going on. But yeah, so I trimmed all that back, and you can see the final look. I'm trying to get this Pro to grow in. I don't, to be honest, it's never going to get as bushy as that, but I'm hoping I can at least get it to where it's the same height. But honestly, who knows at this point? I mean, if it's not there, it's getting pretty tall, but I keep trimming it so it can get bushier, but it's just not happening. And I don't think, unless some miracle happens, I don't think by the time I submit the photos, it's just not gonna be where it's at, which is totally fine. I mean, this tank is definitely, it'll still do good in the 88 contest, but it's I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't do that well. I mean, the goal basically is to basically do better than last year's, which should be pretty easy to accomplish because of the 20 gallon. It wasn't like great, and plus like it wasn't like the best photo either. We had all kinds of equipment still in the tank, and it just was a pretty unprofessional photo. So at least with this tank, once we remove all the equipment and take like real good final shots, at least that's going to be something to where, at least with the 88 contest, if you guys don't know this, they're all about details. So obviously the scape is 95% of it, obviously, but going that extra mile and just taking all the equipment out, blacking out the whole background, just really getting a nice crisp shot of your tank is like that much more, and it's gonna rank you that much higher than everybody else. Even if your scape isn't like as good as somebody else's, you'll definitely get ranked higher because of that. And you can see, if you have the book for the contest, for any of the contest years, you can definitely see what I'm saying. If you look at some of the scapes, you're like, wow, how is that even ranked that high? It's probably because all the extra detail they went into taking the photo. So much of like, have taken the right perfect moment of this fish schooling, having the equipment out, blacking out the back, all those extra things that really gonna make your tank look just that much better in the final. Because what they're looking at is in like top 100, top 200, with the fine works and the good works, they really want those really nice photos for the book, so that's what they're looking for. So that's just a little rant on the contest, but just a little information for you guys. But yeah, so basically the Monte Carlo carpet in the front, I mean, it did actually grow in. So I mean, that was obviously my original plan was it to be way thicker, and it would eventually got there, but it just again, but at least it did fill in. That was a big part of it, is just not seeing any soil at all, and so at least that all filled in. It looks good, so I'm happy with that. One of the things I did do is replant so the thing I did do is replant the S-Repens and got the bush going again. Hopefully it can start getting big, but again, I don't know what's gonna happen. For some reason, this tank S-Repens just do not want to grow, but hopefully this time around they'll actually do pretty good. But you can see the bush growing in there and there. And then the Nubius is having a little bit of trouble. Part of it is me like forgetting a couple days to fertilize, and obviously me dosing ADA, being very lean. It's already pushing the limits, because if you miss a day of ADA, then you're kind of in trouble because it's so lean that your plants already aren't getting really enough nutrients. So when you miss a day, it kind of sucks. And there was a couple of days here and there that I didn't, so it definitely took effect on the scape pretty hard. But yeah, everything else looks pretty good. Obviously, it's just the stems. It's the twin star itself that's really making this tank like this tank would actually look pretty good, even as bad as it looks. It would look pretty good if it had like even just a solar RGB or like a ONF, a Cheer Heroes light, just any light that has a better color on it. Basically, because a twin star just makes everything yellow. Everything that's green, it makes everything look a little yellow. And if we just had any other light, this tank would actually look pretty good, because all the stems look actually pretty bright green, because they are bright green, but on camera, and then plus the twin star, it just makes it really dull and yellow. It makes the reds look pretty good, but everything else just makes everything dull, which it really isn't. So it kind of sucks, but yeah, but at least with the rescape, there'll be the solar RGB on this tank. That's what I'm going to upgrade to for sure, because that's going to make everything look 10 million times better. But yeah, with this rescape, I got 300 pounds of Frodo Stone coming. So Frodo Stone would be the main stone we'll be using the rescape. And then basically what this tank is going to be is a full Iagumi. And then basically carpet only. I maybe have a few mid grounds. It just depends on the layout. What I think of the layout. If I think it would make it look better, then I'll definitely add some mid ground plants. But if not, then we'll just do a full carpet only. I think this tank is the perfect size for that, and I think that's definitely what we're gonna do. And it'd be less maintenance. And I think for a bigger tank, I think just having it simpler will make it just that much pop that much more. So yeah, that's kind of the plans that I'm thinking. But you guys can definitely let me know what you guys would do with this tank. But I think at Iagumi, when you first walk into this room and see that, I think it's just really gonna pop with the bright lush green carpet. But and it'll obviously be Monte Carlo, like I've always been using, because I really like Monte Carlo. But yeah, other than that, I'll see you guys on the next one. Hopefully this is our last video on this tank, but I'll definitely show you guys it when we go to rescape it. But other than that, I'll see you guys on the next one.